Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name is Brian and today we are doing the fourth entry of the So You Want to GM series looking at post-game activities. Now these are things other than prepping for your next session. A lot of them kind of tie in together and you can do them all in one sort of workflow there, but they're all pretty important I think. So starting off is one that I think is probably key. It does lead into a little bit of prepping, however, it'll make things go smoother when you do start to prep, which is looking over your notes from the previous session and look at things that either you weren't sure about, so you were looking at rule clarifications. What did you have that judgment call on that you weren't quite sure about? Was there a certain spell that you ruled it? Oh, let's roll with it this way tonight, but we'll look at how it's going to play out in the end for future sessions, along with story clarifications. Was there something that you maybe jarbled and didn't think of right in your mind? You're like, oh crap, maybe I do a little retconning with that. Was there a way to repair that? Or maybe fit what I said into the story? Or was the characters interested in some sort of piece of the story that you weren't quite sure about, and so you made a little note that said, hey, check up on this sort of lead, those kinds of things there. I know those are all kind of prepping oriented, but I think they're also kind of separate there because you're looking at your previous stuff, based on what came out of that. The next thing I really love to do is recapping for my players. So there's a couple reasons I like to do this. Is first, it helps keep your players in in the mindset of playing the game, and then the other thing is it really helps start your sessions off quicker. Prior to me doing recaps, the first 15 to 20 minutes of a session was spent recapping the previous session because people would trickle in slowly throughout, and they're like, oh, I missed the beginning of this, would you mind starting the recap over. And when you play in a public play forum such as I do, you have 3 or so hours, give or take, to play. Eating up 20 minutes due to a recap, it just kills you. There's a couple different formats that you could do. I've done all three, and there's some pros and cons in both of them. First one is a forum post. This was what I started off with originally. And I did these back in the day when Wizard of the Coast had their forums going around, and I was part of the Adventures League DM private group or something like that. I forget what it was called. And several of us would get together, or not get together, but would post what happened in our session for that day or that week. And from there, we can kind of give each other advice. How did their table react to certain situations? And then you can, say my table did X, Y, and Z, and I liked it, or really make sure you brush up on these rules here. So the forum posts are nice because you get that outside feedback. But some of your players might not go to your forum link. Let's be honest. You can send that out there, but some players, I'm not going to click on that. The next one that after the forum post, when Wizard of the Coast forums went down, I then went to emails. Emails are nice. You get the people that you want to hit. So normally I send my recaps to all my players, whether they show up or not, and then I will CC any of the other Adventure League DMs there. That way they at least have an idea of what's going on. If they don't want to read it, they don't have to. And then I'll CC any guest players I have for that day. So, we normally have our 7 group of players. Some people are out, and then we might take on another player from another table if that DM can't make it for the day. So they at least get the information that's going on there. And so you got that nice target audience, but you lose the outside feedback, which kind of makes me sad with that. The last format, which I know is available, I'm sure you can do a nice handwritten letter to your players if you want, and Xerox that, and who knows. But the last format that I do, and this is one I currently do now, is the video recaps. And I like these because they're really quick. I can do a video and have it uploaded within the hour. So normally 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much role play that we had and how much stuff I want to do, recording the video. Maybe 5 minutes editing. I'll up my recap videos. I don't really edit, and honestly, I don't really edit most of my videos at the moment. I'm still getting into this kind of gig here. And then uploading into YouTube, which that's set the upload, put your tags, walk away for however long it takes to upload, and then click publish. And from there, I send a little email notification to my players saying, hey, here's the video, go ahead and watch it. The videos, I will say, I lose some flavor text because I don't want to go into all these big role play scenarios that I did. You know, like when I did the written feedback, or what am I thinking of? Good Lord, I when I did the written recaps, I would get into like, oh, you know, Pavic grabbed his hammer and absolutely obliterated this guy, and then it did an uppercut. I got really flavorful with the text there, and that was some fun because let me unleash my inner fantasy novel person that I don't really have any desire to be, but it at least sated some of that, gave me a little outlet for some creative writing. Like I said, you lose that with the videos unless you want your videos to go incredibly long. So it's kind of a hit or miss. You want really flavorful, I would suggest going with like an email or a forum post. If you don't care about outside feedback, go with the email over having the forum post. So if you just want something quick and you have the like a webcam, do a video post. I will say my players tend to retain more of the information now that I'm doing the video recaps. I think a lot of them will play it while they work on something, and so they're listening to it versus reading it. And so they tend to retain it a bit more than that. Normally when I do recaps, there's a couple things I like to do. First, hit on the main points of what happened. From there, if you're doing like a text, you can flesh out with flavor text if you want. You can talk about, and I always try to do this, is talk about something that the players did that you enjoyed. It helps show that your players, you appreciate what they're doing and you appreciate their role playing. So talking about something that they did cool, besides just the dice mechanics there, I think it really helps the players feel appreciated. And I know everybody's like, oh, I shouldn't say everybody. Some people think that players should always feel appreciated because you're taking your time to GM for them. However, I don't think that's the case. I think that's separate. That's a shared appreciation, doing the game together, letting them know like, hey, you did this and I thought that was really cool. That's a different level there. And then also in the recaps, I also like to take care of housekeeping items. So if my players leveled up, I say, hey, don't forget to level up before the next session. If there's any item distribution going on there, I'll include those rule follow-ups, the rule clarifications. I'll say, hey, just remember we talked about this rule. We weren't sure how spell X worked, or movement during combat this, or something like that. And then also for 5th edition, Dungeons & Dragons, if you do 5th edition, assigning or granting inspiration is a good thing to do in the like a housekeeping section as well, if you didn't do it before or during the session there. And for the timing of the recaps, I don't like to do it immediately following the session. I normally like to do it. I play every Wednesday, so I normally do it on the weekends. It gives me some time to sit and think and digest everything, and then having it halfway through, it gives the players time to read it at their leisure, but they're not getting it so early that they're going to forget about it. The other thing that you can do is what I would like to call off-camera tasks. These are things that are either really mundane that you don't need to worry about to do, you don't want to take up session time to do, or it's not really public knowledge. Good examples of these are shopping, looking for like your mundane, I'm going through town and I'm gonna go ahead and take care of getting my rations, and I want to look for winter clothes and that kind of stuff. So anything player wants to do that's really mundane, doesn't have a whole lot of impact on the game, you're not expecting to bring up some sort of role play scenario for it, I'd say it's okay to take care of that in an email. And additionally, solo role play sessions, which is that not public knowledge, I try to take care of those via email as well. They don't happen a whole lot with my group, but it has happened a couple times. And so with that, you're not taking time away from everybody else at the session to do a solo role play session. And that way too, it's because the players physically weren't present for, everybody at the table doesn't know what happened there. It's really easy to contain player meta knowledge, keeping them from playing on information that they don't really know about. Of course, that doesn't always work out. You can't always have that be in an email, because sometimes that session, that solo roleplay session happens mid-session, so it's not always possible. But if it's something that happened at the beginning or the end of the session, it's really easy to say, hey, players, think about if you want to do some sort of role play based on the information that came out during this session. If you want to do some solo role play via email, or meet up at the bar and have a drink and talk about it, that's great too. You can do group role play sessions like that. However, I found that with group role play sessions, there's some people that answer their emails, their texts, their however you send this, whether you're like a private Facebook group or something like that. There's people that respond a lot quicker than others, either because some people they're not connected to technology, or they're working or something like that. And so somebody will run away with the scenario, and then somebody, oh, I really wanted to ask this. And so you could do them, but I would kind of try to devise some sort of rules. Like, you can only set in like one response an hour. That way somebody can play off of what's out there. It's kind of tricky to do, but if you really want to do it, I'm sure there's somebody probably has a good way to do it. I don't. I'm not going to try to tell you, hey, here's some great rules, but I would think there's something with some sort of time limit that would work. Hopefully that what you found here, or what I outlined, really helps. I know they're all really simple things. You might go, Brian, you know what? That's it's all kind of stuff that's common knowledge. If it is, it is. These are things that I do every time I clean up a session. I clean up, in between sessions there, and I find them helpful. Some of these things I didn't do beforehand. I didn't do the rule clarifications. I just kind of let them slide, and you know what? Eventually, it started getting to me. I'm like, oh, how many times have I said I'm going to do this? And especially the recapping, it really helps speed up and get in those games quicker. In the solo roleplay sessions, like I said, having that, it really helps contain meta knowledge. That's all really good, fun things. So if you learned something new, or you liked my video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you like what I'm saying, you want to hear more from me, give me a subscribe. I'd love to have you on board. We actually hit above 50 subscribers. Yay, that's fun. Really excited on that. And then last time I did a video, I did a Corrupt a Wish segment. And so I gave a wish, and I said, you know what, guys, go ahead and tell me how you would corrupt my wish, and then we'll go ahead and do some back and forth. And so Tyler Hobbs, he had the wish corruption that I liked most. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and corrupt Tyler's wish. So what happened, Tyler corrupted my wish, and he said that, hey, you have this all my gold available, however, I don't have the papers and that kind of stuff to get to it. So that's great there. It's a little bit, it was a bit of a fun way to do it. And so Tyler then gave me a wish and said, you know what? Here's my wish. He wished for a sword that cannot be broken. So Tyler, you get your sword that cannot be broken. However, it's really ugly, and it's unwieldy to hold on to, because the metal was so damn hard that the blacksmith gave up working on it. So you have your unbreakable sword, but it is the ugliest sword known to man, and it just doesn't fit right in your hand. So if you can deal with that, that's great. You have your unbreakable sword. So for the new wish, that way we can keep the game going. If you want to corrupt a wish, go ahead, and here's the wish that we're looking at. I wish for a loyal and trustworthy Pegasus to be available at my beck and call whenever I whistle. So if you want to go ahead and play the Corrupt a Wish game with me, let me know how you'd corrupt my Pegasus wish, and then make sure you put a new wish down below. That way I can corrupt yours. So whoever's corrupted wish I like the most, I'll corrupt their wish the following week. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.